concentration is what? There's only one.
Isn't it
log pH.
To calculate,
10 to the negative pH.
thank you. Oh, it is?
Yeah, the chart's different.
Oh, bummer. That's a real bummer. Okay, what about this bottom part? Do you have any of this?
Yeah, the bottom looks to be the same. Yeah.
Bottom's the same? The charts are different. Okay, well, okay, and then let's look at the next. It's going to go over like the formulas then. Okay, so that there's only one formula to calculate for hydrogen concentration. That is using 10 to the negative pH, and you need to be in scientific notation when you're doing that calculation. What is when we're calculating for pH? What's one of the formulas? pH equals
14 minus pOH.
14 minus pOH. So if I know what the pOH is, I can do 14 minus in this example on my thing. 14 minus 11 will tell me my pH, which would be what?
13. I mean, no, just 3. What did I say? 13.
That's okay. Which would be 3. All right, what's the other formula to calculate for pH? Let's say I don't know the pOH, but I know the concentration.
Negative log.
Times the concentration of hydrogen ions. To calculate for pH, you need to be in flow. All right, for hydroxide ion concentration, what formula do we use?
10 minus pOH.
10 caret negative
pOH.
pOH. And you need to be in scientific notation for this. And then to calculate for pOH, what's one of the formulas? 14 minus pH. And then the other one, if I don't know pH, what can I use?
Minus log pOH.
Negative log times the concentration of hydroxide ions. So the only other way that I would be able to use this formula right here is if I know this hydroxide ion concentration. If I only know the concentration of hydrogen ions, the only thing I can calculate for is for pH. I can't calculate. How would I do that? Let's say I know the hydrogen ion concentration and the question's asking me, what is the pOH? What would I need to do first? This is the question. I know my hydrogen ion concentration. My question is what is the pOH? You have to find your pH first using which formula? The negative log times the concentration, and then that would tell me my pH, and then what would I do from there?
You would do your 14 minus your pH and then find your pOH.
Exactly. I would do 14 minus pH so that I can calculate for the pOH. Make sure on your test you understand what it's asking you to calculate. because there may be more than one step that you need to do. All right, and then the last thing, how do I determine if I have an acid or a base? For an acid, where is the pH?
Less than 7.
And for a base?
Greater than 7.
I just made this as messy as possible. The pH is, it's 7, not greater than 14. Are we good with calculating? Remember too, real quick, that when you're determining acid or base, you're using the pH. Do not use the POH. Use the pH. Okay. Let's see what else we have on here. All right, naming. A binary acid, let's see.
It's just hydro and then ink at the end.
The heck? For a binary acid, how many elements do we have?
2.
We only have 2 elements, a hydrogen and something else. So 2 elements. Why am I not? I can't. Sorry. The rules for naming a binary acid. What is the prefix we use?
Hydro.
Hydro. What's the suffix we use?
Ick.
Ick. And then acid. Okay, so HBr.
Hydrobromic acid.
Hydro. Brome. Ick. Acid. All right, there was a lot of confusion on H2S. H2S is this one right here.
The 2 just means the oxidation number isn't the same, so it has to add another.
A lot of people were writing, I saw dihydrosulfuric acid. That name is not correct. When you say hydrosulfuric acid, you are saying that you have H2S. And why do we have 2 hydrogens? Is because what's the oxidation on sulfur?
2 minus 2.
It's a 2. So in order to stabilize this, in order to make it right, I would need 2 hydrogens to balance it out right. So hydrosulfuric acid is H2S. That I saw a lot of people make that mistake. What is the name of HCl?
Hydrochloric acid.
Hydrochloric acid. And you need to include the acid part. And then hydrofluoric acid, it gives you the name, asking for the formula. What's the oxidation on fluorine?
1 minus.
So the formula for hydrofluoric acid would be
HF.
okay. There any questions with that?
No, ma'am.
Oxyacids have slightly different rules. You first have to know where you're starting at. Know your starting point. And in order to do that, you need a periodic table. So let's just look at this first one. We have HNO3. Look in your polyatomic list. Do you see NO3 on your list?
Yes, it's nitrate.
So NO3 is a nitrate polyatomic. And if you see it in there as it is, the only thing you need to do at that point is to drop the 8 and add what?
IC.
Ick. So this would be nitric acid. And I'm not going to write the acid just because it's too much. All we did was add the ick. All right, let's look at the next one. H2CO. I want you to look on your periodic tables and look for CO. If you don't see CO, what's the closest one to it?
It's carbon.
CO3 is the closest one to it. So if I had H2CO3, the name of that acid would be carbonic acid. How many fewer oxygens do I have on the H2CO?
2.
2 less. So what are the rules when there are 2 less? What is the prefix I need?
Hypo.
Hypo.
Carbonous acid.
Carb. OUS at the end. Carbonous acid. So we added the So we added the hypo and we added the us at the end. That's 2 less oxygen. All right, let's skip over to 34. You're looking on your polyatomic list for SO5. If you don't see SO5, what's the one closest to it?
Sulfate.
Sulfate is SO4, so do I have more oxygen or less?
More.
I have 1 more, so the rule for 1 more, what prefix do I use?
Per.
Per.
Persulfate acid.
You still keep the ick at the end. So we added per, I keep doing that. Per, and then we added ick at the end. Persulfuric acid. One of the ones that we saw was, or that we were seeing that I wanted to point out to you, sulfurous acid, for example. I want to point this out to you. First of all, we know that hydrosulfuric acid is H2S. This is hydrosulfuric. This is a binary acid. Can you see that? I need to change the color, right? Okay, this is the hydrosulfuric acid. It only has 2 elements. But what was messing a lot of people up was when they were asked to write the formula for sulfuric acid. What would the formula for sulfuric acid be?
H2SO4.
Okay, what's the sulfate ion? Okay, SO4, and what's the oxidation on it? So how many hydrogens would I need?
2.
Do you see the difference? Okay, hydrosulfuric acid is only 2, it's following the binary rules, it only has 2 elements. But sulfuric acid has the sulfate polyatomic. I have 2 hydrogen because it's a 2 minus. I saw a lot of people making mistakes on this. Okay, if you just see, what would the formula for sulfurous acid be then?
H2SO3.